In an apparent bid to completely disregard the Supreme Court's partial block of Trump's Muslim ban, the Trump administration is now doing the totally foreseeable. They are now trying to manipulate and twist the very definition of the Supreme Court's legal language to allow for Trump's racist, ineffective agenda. Now, before we get into what the liar-in-chief is doing, let me remind you of exactly what the Supreme Court said about Trump's Muslim ban as explained by the SCOTUS blog. They write, quote, "The justices therefore upheld the lower court's orders blocking enforcement of the ban with regard to the named plaintiffs and others like them, people who have a credible claim of a genuine relationship with someone or an institution in the United States. When that relationship is with an individual, the court made clear it must be a close family member. And when the relationship is with an institution, the relationship must also be a genuine one, rather than one created just to get around the travel ban." They said very clearly, a close family member. And in their ruling, they even went on to give two examples of what was defined as a, quote, close familiar relationship, wherein they used the person's wife and mother-in-law as being sufficient to be protected from Trump's disgusting Islamophobic decree. Now the Associated Press is reporting it has obtained State Department cables showing the Trump administration's determination to ignore the spirit of the SCOTUS ruling in what was clearly a constitutional crisis. And now, quote, grandparents, grandchildren, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, cousins, brother-in-laws, sisters-in-laws, fiancés, or other extended family members are not considered to be close relationship. And lastly, the Trump administration says legally it can block anyone it wants from those 6 countries based on that criteria. The biggest mistake the SCOTUS made was treating him like a legitimate president in the first place. They would literally have to spell out every possible situation clearly, and they should have known that the Trump administration would run ramshot over their legal ruling. But why would the Trump administration start to respect the role of the judiciary in our Constitution now? This is a man who has defrauded people, violated agreements with the Department of Justice, personally attacked judges. This is a man who will lie under oath without even any sense of conflict because he's a f***ing psychopath. He is the literal definition of a psychopath. This is a man who does not respect the rule of law. His own lawyer has said that the president cannot break the law because he's the head of the executive branch. And the only real check on his illegal moves will come from Congress. But don't expect that as long as Republicans are in control. Now, this case will be reviewed in full in October, where the Trump administration is going to have to explain why it told the Supreme Court to F itself. But Trump won't care because this entire Muslim ban has been a farce to begin with. This was just a way to show the racist America crowd that he had their back. So he looks like a tough guy to the racists, and he can say he kept a campaign promise. I mean, his entire bullshit claim is predicated on the idea that we needed a 90-day, quote, temporary ban in order to figure it all out. Well, here we are. It's been nearly 6 months, and he's been president, and he's had plenty of time to, quote, figure it out. And need I remind our audience that out of the 6 countries that Trump has selected in his Muslim ban, our country has never had a terrorist attack from a refugee or an immigrant from any of those countries.
But you said this is a temporary system. I would set up it's a temporary ban on not everybody, but many. I would set up a system to see who qualifies to come in, who doesn't, until we come down with the answer as to...
In fact, it's been going on longer than that. In December of 2015, Trump called for a, quote, total and complete shutdown, unquote, of all federal processes allowing followers of Islam into the country until elected leaders can, quote, figure out what is going on.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on. We have no choice. We have no choice.
Well, it's been a year and a half, jackass, and the vast majority of Americans know he's just lying. He's really just fighting to keep America white, and that ain't so great. My name is Daniel Goldman with Content.News, where we are always free to share the truth.